Yes, sir.
Friends, good evening everyone. Namaste. What is passion and what is the quest for excellence? Words in any language have multiple meanings. Words mean many things to different people. Passion at many places is a bad word. In traditional spirituality of this country, they talk of dispassion, vairagya, as a good thing to have. But let me make it very clear. The topic this evening uses the word passion in a complimentary sense, in a good sense, in the sense of certain energy, certain enthusiasm, certain flow, in contrast to lacking in energy, lacking in enthusiasm, lacking in drive, being confused, being full of contradictions, etc. Passion is a good word here, let us be clear, where someone living one's life with passion is really to be envied. Wow, look at the passion in her. So you envy her. So one is, let us not mix this up with raga, attachment, lust, greed, etc., as somewhere else it is used. We respect their literature for their own contributions. But here, passion is, let's just use one word, healthy energy. Quest for excellence also is a complementary phrase or expression. One wants to do well, whatever one is doing, rather than in a slipshod manner, rather than in a half-hearted manner. However, even after defining both passion and the quest for excellence in appropriate ways as they fit into this discussion of ours this evening, there remains a little more to be said. Even when taken in a healthy sense, a desirable energy about life and wanting to do well whatever one is doing, even after getting the right meaning, alas, a large number of people take these two words or expressions in a very different way than what Krishnaji would look at or how Krishnaji would use them. In this world, and that is what makes this world what it is, so full of strife and disharmony and fear, insecurity and everything. In this world, passion somehow has always been about one achieving something and then one showing how good one is. And passion has been connected with quantity, with size, with, if one is a writer, large volumes she wrote or he wrote. If one is a businessman, oh, he worked with such passion. Can you believe? In 5 years, he made so many millions of dollars. So in this way, the world connects this word passion with certain gross achievement. Just yesterday morning, some friend sent to me a paragraph from Krishnaji. Uh, Give me 10 seconds. Oops, where is my... Oh, yeah. Where Krishnaji very strongly says, and that sentence which I will read now for you will not be understood by many people. But in this group, you and I are a little familiar with how Krishnaji approaches matters. Therefore, I am sure you will figure it out, but I would like to elaborate a little on that. I don't know from which book it is, but J. Krishnamurti, it is said. And there are some 10 or 12 sentences. But the main sentence is, the successful people are not the ones who are building a new world. People who are new to such language would read second time, third time. Because generally it is believed the so-called successful people build a new world. Successful people who build skyscrapers, successful people who make aeroplanes that go at a higher speed than sound, successful people who may send a rocket to the Mars, maybe build a colony over there. This mad world looks at such successful people as creating a new world. And Krishnaji says, the successful people are not the ones who are building a new world. For me, this is a very precious sentence. This sentence means a lot to anybody, and dear friends, such a sentence can mean a lot to every one of us. Because in this mad world, you and I also have quite a bit of that madness flowing in our blood. So we got to be aware of it and take that out of our blood. This pursuit of success, where Shri Krishnaji says, successful people do not build a new world or the new world, either way. So I must throw some light on what new world means to that profound seer like Krishnaji. The new world is not where some more scientific and technological advancement could be found. A new world is one where humanity learns to live in peace. Humanity learns to live in understanding each other. There is, if not no violence, less violence. That would be the new world a spiritual seer would want. And successful people do not bring it. Now let me read the whole paragraph, listen carefully. It is always difficult to keep simple and clear. The world worships success. The higher, the better. The bigger, the better, sorry. The greater the audience, the greater is the speaker. Krishnaji is describing this mad world. You know, the greater the audience, the greater is the speaker. That's how the world looks at things. The colossal super buildings, cars, aeroplanes, and people. Simplicity is lost. The successful people are not the ones who are building a new world. To be a real revolutionary requires a complete change of heart and mind. And how few want to free themselves. I add a word. Normally, one cuts the surface roots. Normally, I added. Normally, usually, when you look around, one cuts the surface roots. But to cut the deep feeding roots of mediocrity, success needs something more than words, methods, and compulsions. There seem to be few, but they are the real builders. The rest labor in vain. This reminds me, this is where with my style, I do not go so much with the published literature of Krishnaji or some standard styles that are employed in K circles. I take a little liberty to go to something else which I would have read somewhere. I wish I had that clip. If I get it, and on another occasion, I'll share with you on this screen. There's an interesting clip where Einstein and Bernard Shaw are sitting together. And Bernard Shaw speaks. And Bernard Shaw says, you know, these words are mine. Original words may be slightly different, but it amounts to this. You know, if Alexander had not come upon this earth, so he pauses there. Now everybody looks at Alexander as a great guy. In fact, he is referred to as Alexander the Great. But Bernard Shaw, who had, as you know, a deep spiritual insight, Bernard Shaw continues, if Alexander had not been born at all, the world would have been a much better place. The world would have been a more beautiful place. If people like Alexander were not born, the world would have been a happier place. And you can see in that video clip, Albert Einstein enjoying that, witty remark. Friends, a whole lot of people whom we envy, wow, what energy they have, whose success and whose achievements, tend to impress us, are like Alexander. They may show something big, but that is not the passion which is worth having. To make matters very simple, the passion which is an expression of ego, the passion which revolves around the self, the passion which emanates, emerges from the self, is not worth having. Therefore, to fit well into this group, this circle of friends, I would now come to the heart of the topic. Passion is about inquiry. If there is passion in us to learn the ways of the self, if there is certain passion that does not wane and reduce, if there is a burning passion about understanding what hurts us, what makes us angry, what tires us down. Many of us have enviable degrees and we have gone around the world, but we cannot distinguish sometimes between laziness or tiredness or need for sleep. When are we actually in need of sleep? When are we feeling lazy? And when are we lethargic? And so on, to distinguish them. And if one can see the distinction between laziness and tiredness, then out of understanding that, yes, the body is tired, let me give the body a little rest, is one thing. And to misunderstand laziness for tiredness and to sleep off is another thing. So passion is not about either building huge buildings, making millions of dollars. It's not about coming out with a new invention. Passion worth having is not even about finding a very effective method, medicine for COVID-19. With due respect to those inventions and discoveries, they do serve some purpose. We are not against any award that goes to these discoverers. As we say sometimes, God bless them. But the passion worth having is one where there is a continuous effort on our part to understand the operation of the self, primarily in ourselves and also in others. Was somebody angry with me, or was he dissatisfied? Was he, let us say, tired? Was he disturbed because of something else, not what I said or did, etc. We need to understand others rightly and to understand ourselves rightly is not a joke. To understand life rightly is very challenging. Do we have the passion to understand life? Let's put the question like that. If that is understood, the second part, quest for excellence. Again, with due regard for those Olympic winners or Grammy Award winners, Oscar Award winners, or in our country, Jnanpith Award winners, or Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, etc. Or Khel Ratna, Arjuna Award. Oh, this world is full of forms of recognition for the so-called excellence. Singing and dancing and acting and running and high jump and long jump and science and technology, and in numerous fields we have awards of excellence. And we understand that has a place of its own, God bless them. But the quest for excellence, again, as relevant to our discussion, is where we take up the question seriously. There is that quest, there is that search. Is it possible for us to love truly? Is it possible for us to be free of ambition? Is it possible for us to question, models that are laid before us? As a speaker said the other day, the world continuously places ladders before you. And if you just climb the ladder that this world places before you, the world placed a ladder before you and you quickly climbed it. The world will applaud and give you a medal, a trophy. And this crazy world will keep another ladder after 10 days and challenge you. Hey, can you climb this ladder? And you climb that ladder also. The world will give you another medal. But true quest for excellence would involve you are questioning that ladder. What's this ladder you are keeping before me? What does it mean? So if you question the ladder that the world places before you, and yeah, if it's a worthy ladder, we won't dismiss that possibility. But without questioning the definitions of success, excellence, fame, name, or beauty, glory, greatness, and so on, without questioning the definitions that the world places before you, you simply conform to those definitions and join the race which sometimes we call the rat race, right? You all have surely heard. The problem with the rat race is even if you win it, you remain a rat. So, is it possible to step out of the rat race? And mind you, lastly, it is not about stepping out and sleeping away, going into some idleness. Step out from the rat race, and if you maintain that passion to understand life, you will have true objectives. You will have something really worthy. It will emerge. The intelligence in you will show to you a goal that is worthy, which might be sometimes intangible. There may be a tangible dimension to it, but primarily, worthy goals of life are intangible. You want true peace, you want true love. Love cannot be measured as we measure money or physical objects, right? So, friends, without going long, I think I've hit hard on the crux of the matter. Passion is about understanding the operation of the self, and the quest for excellence also is digging deeper and deeper, as Krishnaji's paragraph said, cutting the deeper roots, not just the surface roots. Then you and I could be among the few who would build a new world, and large numbers of people who are regarded as having worked passionately and they reached the pinnacles of success, blah, blah, all that, they actually really, what is that last sentence in that paragraph? Let me, yeah. The rest labor in vain. So these Alexanders and Napoleons and all those people, Shah and emperors, great emperors, they labored in vain. They truly did not contribute to human well-being. This is what we need to understand. Thank you. I pause here.
Thank you very much, Chidanandji. And you will be staying for more than 7:15 or leaving 7:15?
I'll be staying more than 7:10.
Okay, I got it. That's the other way of saying the same thing. So
7:15.
let us have some question answer first, and then we will be going to Harish.
As you like, sir.
Thank you very much. So Mr. Shankar has already asked a question or a remark. Please see that note.
In the chat box?
Yeah, chat box.
Yeah, Shankar Rao, Vaisag, to everyone. He is watching thoughts from moment to moment with intense attention, also not climbing a ladder to achieve a state of order. Well, as we watch thoughts, suppose there is an intention in us. By watching thoughts like this, I will be great. I will be liberated. By watching thoughts like this, I will get free. If there is that intention, there is a motive, then that also is climbing a ladder. But in the wonderful legacy of Krishnaji, wherever watching thought is mentioned, it is absolutely without any intention of becoming somebody. We are using the expression climbing a ladder strictly in the sense of becoming somebody, qualifying for an award, becoming eligible for a trophy. Whereas in true seeing of thoughts, there is no motive. And one desires to understand, and that desire to understand does not carry with it a conceiving of, what I will be if I succeed in this, and how people will look at me, how my image in the eyes of people will be better if I am successful in this operation of watching thoughts, etc. All that filthy stuff will not be in this true watching. Therefore, true watching is not climbing a ladder at all, I would submit. Ramarao says, attention is inclusive of all. Yes, yes, Ramarao. Attention includes the self, the not self, and so on. No boundary. But as something seems to have scope for more penetration, the attention might engage with that. Not out of a calculation that here there is more profit, let me think more on this, let me examine this more, with some profit in mind. No, no, no. The intelligence, finds out that something has more scope for understanding. So, though Shakti Kumar and others may correct me, it seems to me that in one sense there is no choosing at all, but in another sense, when intelligence, smells something fishy, to use a intelligence smells something fishy, it may examine that particular dimension of thought with greater penetration. Rajashekaram says, Sir, Namaste. I have attended your program at Naimisham, Hyderabad. Oh yeah, this is private. Okay, yeah. Thank you. He just wants to say we have met before. Nice meeting you again here, Rajashekaram. Thank you.
Dinesh Wagmare. Dinesh Wagmare, ask the question.
Dinesh ji, बोलिए.
Sir ji, एक चीज बताइए. Why should one observe the thoughts if there is no motive?
Good. Yeah. So, why should one observe thought if there is no motive? Yeah, you and I observe thought with no motive, for life has taught us and life has awakened in us a little intelligence where we have seen that whenever we pursued something with a motive, we are left with just ash in our hands. I used an idiom, with the motive of making money. A lot of people have made a lot of money. Where are they? They are as miserable as before, if not more. If the motive is of pleasure, pleasure has left us again in sorrow. So money, pleasure, power, position, teaching somebody a lesson, showing somebody I am superior to him or her. Whenever motive of that kind was present, actually it did not take us anywhere. On the contrary, it left us more wounded and hurt. Therefore, motive itself is questionable. So you may perhaps want to know, but why should we watch at all? Yes. When we examine that any other endeavor is fraught with limitations, fraught with bad limitations, there arises a certain inquisitiveness in us. What's going on? What's wrong? Why am I sad? Why am I discontent? Or why am I happy? So there comes about a curiosity or an inquisitiveness. There comes about a jignasa, as they call it, jigyasa or jidnasa, wanting to know without any motive at all. And if you again say, but why should we pursue it? I would say that pursuing that fundamental question is really our nature, is part of the intelligence deep inside us. Whereas pursuing wealth, pursuing name and fame was an influence upon us. It was a conditioning. Whereas pursuing truth is not a conditioning. We don't begin to pursue truth because we read a book of Krishnamurti or somebody. To pursue truth, to try to find out what life is all about, is actually our natural quest. Some speech of Krishnaji or a book of Krishnaji might stimulate it or might awaken it. But the examining thought without a motive is our nature. Just as a child, upon seeing something colorful, would be very inquisitive. What is this bright, colorful object? The child doesn't bother by doing so. Elders or others would praise him. The child doesn't care for praise or recognition. Child is just curious. That example may have a little limitation after all, but in the mature inquiry, it is an expression of our true nature. I would say that.
But this automatically becomes a motive, isn't it? To find out, finding out
Which
the
one?
truth, or to just to, it automatically becomes a motive, no?
No. Motive, this is a matter of language and definition. The word motive is necessarily used in the context of
Or becoming.
something gross, some acquisition for becoming, etc. It's then that context. Yeah. The word motive has that connotation.
Thank you.
In traditional spirituality also a question is asked. There is a word called mumukshutva, desiring liberation. And generally people ask, you say give up all desires, but isn't desiring liberation also another bondage? And so on. There we clarify pretty much the same way. The word desire for liberation, mumuksha, certainly is not with the boundary of something limited. Though the word desire is used, it is actually more a desire to unshackle ourselves. And that is natural. Whatever is natural from the bottom of your heart is healthy and good. Whatever has come to you as a conditioning. So the neighbor bought a Skoda car and you say, I'm going to throw away my Maruti and I'll also buy a Skoda. So you saw what neighbor bought and you got influenced. Those are considered unhealthy and leading to sorrow. So yeah, sorry, the word motive has to be understood, as you yourself said, something connected with becoming. That becoming becomes a movement from one illusion to another. Presently, I have an idea who I am, and in part I am proud of it, in part I am very unhappy about it. All of us carry a bundle of ideas who we are. And with that bundle of ideas who we are proud at places and feel unhappy at others. So that's an illusion, this bundle of ideas. Then in becoming, we want to embrace another bundle of ideas. I am a teacher at, let us say, a university in Hyderabad, and I want to become a professor at Oxford University. So this, I am this, I want to become that. Both are fraught with pain. Whereas loving work that we do on a day-to-day basis, loving the work that we do, loving the people with whom we interact is considered healthy in these spiritual discussions. For love is from the bottom of our heart. To bask in the glory of the chair of an Oxford professor or the chair of a professor in Osmania University in Hyderabad, to bask in the glory or to feel low about it, this is nothing, bekar hai. Both of them are illusions. Whereas the work of the professor teaching students lovingly, engaging in discussion, that is lovely. That's how the matter goes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Shankar Rao, please ask whatever you are writing.
Yeah, I will answer this last question and stop because other speakers, other people have to speak.
Yes.
Shankar Rao again says, thank you,
Yes.
Swamiji. He is not understanding all thought. He is not understanding all thoughts are false, sufficient, instead of watching every thought. You know, understanding.
There's a continuation, Swamiji. Swamiji, there's a
Yeah,
continuation to that question.
Okay. I noticed. Swamiji, we watch thoughts so that the disorder becomes order. The moment you see disorder is thought created. Why we watch disorder is because disorder is the cause of suffering. So to remove the suffering, we watch disorder. So there is motive, Swamiji. Yeah. So to be free from disorder is not motive in this language, in this terminology. So in this terminology, as we explained before, a motive is something that gratifies the self. I meet you and somebody tells me just 2 minutes before I meet you in a get-together, you know that man in blue shirt whom you are going to meet, richest man in the town. So ensure that he comes in your, contact. Then I speak to you with a lot of excitement. Hello, how happy I am, and so on. See, there's a motive there. What is the motive? He is supposed to be richest man in the town, and if he comes to my work, I will also have a gala time. That is called motive, where there is a gratifying the self. Whereas to be free of disorder is an innate urge in every living being. That's not called motive. So first part, isn't understanding all thoughts as false sufficient? Well, even if we say it is sufficient, how do you understand all thought as false? Only by inquiring and only by watching every thought. If there is a deep enough watching, there is an intense enough watching, that generalization might occur to us. Then yes, if there is a very profound understanding that all thought is false, all thought is sorrow, then yeah, that's sufficient. But that doesn't come about so easily as we imagine. Therefore, generally we are talking about watching every thought. Generally, we discover my madness for, delicious food is an illusion. But next day, another new food, recipe comes my way. I'm excited. So, yeah, otherwise, yeah, in principle, deep understanding, anything created by thought is false. Done. Job is done.
What I'm saying, Swamiji, though we know the movie is a false, still we watch the movie for entertainment. Same like that, even though we know all this is thought created world, everything, every thought is a false, still we continue to live in this world because there's no other way. And we have to live with a sort of entertainment. That's all. What do you say, Swamiji?
Right. These are well expressed, but the actuality of it, to live life without falling into the trap of this false thought, is a mighty challenge. All of us have read a lot, talked a lot, discussed a lot, and yet, some prospect of some pleasure comes before us, becoming somebody,
That is because of conditioning, Swamiji. Since childhood, we are conditioned. So we fall to the trap of the conditioning once in a while. Yeah. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you so much.
We are on the same page. All right, Master of Ceremonies, request Harshad ji nahi aa sake.
Please, Harish ji, I wanted to continue.
Correct. Harish ji se hum sunenge hum kuch.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome, Harish ji.
Yeah. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Sushil ji. Okay. Is it all right if I briefly describe how I came in contact with Krishnji and KFI? Is it all right or no? I should take a plunge straight into the topic.
If I may say, because most of us do not know you so well, मैं आपसे शायद 1-2 बार मिला था राजघाट में, शायद छाबरा
जी
जी के
मुझे भी
साथ।
शायद ही लगता है जी।
हाँ वही, शायद डाइनिंग हॉल में मिले होंगे। फिर
जी
भी मैं भी आपको उतनी अच्छी तरह जानता नहीं।
जी।
आप वही जो पंजाब में रहते हैं? नहीं ना, पंजाब में रहते हैं?
देखिए मैं पहली बार 1981 में 82 में आया राजघाट। तो after that I was in and out of KFI, a whole lot of places. But when I left in let's say 1994 January, then that was the end of my association. After which straightway when I came to return to India in 2015 and joined Sahyadri, so there was a huge gap, Swamiji.
देन हम आपको नहीं जानते हैं।
जी जी जी।
तो आप कृपया कुछ बताइए। और
जी जी बिल्कुल।
वैसे
जी
सुशील जैन, आपकी इजाजत चाहिए।
बिल्कुल सर, whatever you say is the order.
Yeah, okay, fine. Let me tell you, as Kiran B. Khalap said during his exposition, that he has nothing on his own. He can only talk about his memory. So more or less the same is the case here. And I would emphasize more, the art of storytelling rather than enlightening you on a particular topic. You understand? So, so that you feel that yes, it was quite amusing. But that is my approach. But if something serious emerges, and of course, questions are most welcome. In the year 76 and 77, I was still editing Osho's books in Pune.
Wow.
I had joined him. I had become his Chela disciple in 74 and 76. I moved into ashram in Pune, started editing his books. And he used to talk about Krishnamurti as the living Buddha. So, and I had started reading, I had finished reading Years of Awakening, the first part of Mary Latin's book. So this, it was building up within me. Now, who is this living Buddha? I must see. Then, meanwhile, some of my Guru Bhais sneaked out of ashram and heard Krishnamurti in Bombay, and they came back. And they said, oh, you see, Harish, you should have you come with us and all that. I said, no, I would not sneak out. I will take proper permission. Anyway, it's a long story, but that is not important. When I left Rajneesh and his ashram in Pune, that time he was called Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. So I left bag and baggage. I left him forever. Not to return ever in my life. And handed over the discipleship, like Mala and Naam, whatever he used to give, So I should go on record as saying that, yes, to one day I accepted his discipleship. Today I am quitting discipleship with full awareness, rightly or wrongly, but it should be public. Anyway, attended Krishnaji's 2 talks, but not, I told myself, unless I strike, I some sort of bond with Krishnaji, I won't be satisfied. So I asked some people on the last talk, on the last day, and they said that he is putting up at Peda Road at a Sterling apartment. So one day I went there, and on the way I found some flower shop. So I bought a rose flower and carried it. Now, again, it's a long story, which I will not go into. I had decided not to give the rose flower, Kamal Mehta, Kamalni Mehta or Kamala Mehta? Can somebody, Pupulji's sister, can somebody remind me? Sushilji.
Nandini Mehta.
Oh, Nandini, sorry, not Kamalni, Nandini Mehta or Sunanda Patwal. It could be either. They said, no, please don't give this flower and all that. I said, of course I will not. But miraculously, Krishnaji came down from the 6th floor, went past me, and I was hiding this flower. And I just wanted to have darshan from close quarters. He went past like lightning, and God knows what made him put a sudden break. And then he stepped back, came in front of me, stood in front of me, and I felt as if time had come to a grinding halt, and then he stretched his hand, and then I came to my senses. I felt, oh my God, he is a true mystic Antaryami. He has somehow figured out that this, haggard-looking, hapless person has brought something for me. So I gave him rose flower. I did not tell him who I am, what my name is, because, once Osho had told me that when Dayanandji went in search of the Guru and he knocked the door, and Girja Maharaj or whatever the name was, and he asked, who are you? Who is there? So when he said, who are you? Dayanand Saraswati said, if I knew who I am, I would not come to you. And he said, oh yeah, so I have got the right disciple. You are most welcome. So somehow it sank very deep within me that I am not my name. I have other things. Name is just one of the thoughts. I am the bundle of my thoughts. Anyway. And I did not know what will happen. But yes, when I met Achyut Patwardhan and all that, expressed my desire to be associated with, I said I was with Rajneesh. He said, look, here it is not like you have left Rajneesh and you can join Krishnamurti because you are not his disciple and all that. So Achyut just said, you look so young. So why don't you, what is your qualification? I said, I hold a bachelor's degree in history. He said, go back and finish your master's and then come back and you will be a teacher in our school. I said, fine. Again, it's a long story, but I did not know that I never told Krishnamurti my name or where I was or something, but such an important responsibility would fall on my shoulders. I was still at Patna University. It was my last year and had come down to Rajghat to attend an annual gathering. And Krishnaji had not come that year for some reason. So Achyutji came to my at Vasantashram, a dining table, and he said, young man, I heard your conversation both in Hindi and English. We need someone like you. So scholars have tried putting Krishnamurti into Hindi, but nobody buys the book. They said that although my English is not good, but I better read him in English because Hindi is more difficult. Anyway, so I said, Achyutji, okay, I will think over it. It will be my privilege. Let me finish my education. After finishing education, I went straight to Bangalore and got into the Valley School in 1981. And I told Achyutji, now I'm ready. Tell me which book should I start with. Achyutji sent Dr. Parchure. Tell Harish to pack up his bags and go to Rajghat and get in touch with Upasniji. I'm not his boss. Upasniji will tell him all the nitty-gritty of translation. I did that. There was no looking back. So that was enough. So my stay in Valley School was hardly 2 months. And then, of course, I have been to Brockwood Park twice, 1987, 1999. The third time when I was in England, I could not visit Brockwood Park for certain reasons in the year 2007. But yes, I spent a month and a half at Oak Grove High School in California, Krishnamurti's school in way back in 1987. So with this background, now permit me to come back to the topic. When Sushilji told me, Harish, why don't you think of some topic? I said, Sushilji, I'm a little confused. Better give me a topic. But he was not enthusiastic about suggesting a topic. So I said, okay, no problem. I selected this topic, passion and the quest of excellence. And it is, let me come clean on this issue, why I selected it. Because to tell you the truth, whether you may agree with me, may not agree with me, but after reading Rajneesh or listening to him, I did not, whatever I read, commentaries on living and, the only revolution and urgency of change and all that, personally, I did not find there were basic difference with, except for one. Like Osho had been accused of starting a cult. Okay, absolutely right. You may be absolutely right. Also, in fact, at one point he said, I have come not to teach you, but to awaken you. Surrender to my feet and I will transform you. Not that I believed in it, but yes, you can say that like Krishna, Sarva Dharmani Parityajya, or like Jesus Christ. When Jesus Christ said, I am the way, he did not say, I am one of the ways. So you can say that, yes. Osho Rajneesh put himself on a pedestal, right? But when it came to sadhana path, if I can use this word, then there was not much difference. But then what attracted me to Krishnamurti? I will tell you, what was it? The same reason which attracted me to Osho. It was the series going on Sambhoksha Samadhi, which you all have heard. And somebody asks, look, every day we come here with our family, we are respectable people, and you openly talk about Sambhog and orgasm and this and that. I will shoot you, you will be killed. And he said, go ahead. You will be doing me a great favor by killing me, because the history tells us that when he becomes a martyr, whether it is Jesus Christ or Socrates or whoever it is, Mansoor, so you will actually do me a great favor. In any case, I don't want to die, a slow death on a cot, bedridden for months and years. And I said to myself, I must meet this person. People are surprised when they ask, what did you learn from Samoksha Samadhi or any Rajneesh book that took you? I said, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because even as a child, I used to read Kalyan and this and that, whatever it is. So what was that? The passion of Krishnamurti. The passion with which he spoke. I still remember when I was reading Years of Awakening, and there is one paragraph where Mary Letian describes Krishnamurti holding the hand of her mother, Emily Letian, and walking on the beach and singing the song, I have fallen in love with half death. I said, this is the kind of person which would attract me. Not the loaded and the old terminology and jargon and this, that. A person who belongs to 20th century. Of course, that was 20th century that time. So it was the passion of Krishnamurti and his quest of excellence. And now, as I delve a little deeper into the topic, I will try my best to illustrate my point. Now, let me quote. This afternoon, I said to myself, oh my God, I am not prepared for today's, I am supposed to say something. So let me see what the internet material talks about passion and excellence. I knew quite a bit of it. So whatever I am quoting, this is not my words, exactly Krishnanji's words. So the first and foremost, passion is a rather frightening thing, because if you have passion, you don't know where it will take you. It is straight from Freedom from the Known, which happens to be my first translation of Jnat Se Mukti. I repeat, passion is a rather frightening thing, because if you have passion, you don't know where it will take you. Let me remind you, last time on Sunday, I talked about social respectability, and what Swami Chidanandji said, all about success. That is all part of social responsibility, as a social respectability. Absolutely, So, if I am suddenly reminded of one thing, when Kabir said, कबीरा खरा बाजार में लिए लुकाठी हाथ, जो घर जा रे आपना चले हमारे साथ. I cannot think of any other example, more apt than this. When Krishnaji said passion is a rather frightening thing, because if you have passion, you don't know where it will take you. So Kabir said that if you are ready to burn your house, of course, it is not literally you have to burn your house. But like I have great respect for people like Dr. Harshad Parekh or Dr. Sidali or whoever. They had their cushy, their successful career in America, Canada, or wherever in India, and they said goodbye and came to. I have great regard for them. And I don't give myself credit because I was a failure before also, and even today I'm a failure. But yes, this is, and again, not let me switch over from Kabir to, let me switch over to Krishnji's own example. And probably most of you will quickly get it, what I mean by, that dangerous thing or the passion thing or whatever it is, what Krishnamurti means by it, or what I understand by that. Just a minute. Just a minute. I cannot, am I audible? Hello.
Very well audible, very well audible.
Okay. Okay. Okay, but yeah, okay, fine. Now I realize the secret. Yes. Then let me remind you all. You all have read it in Krishnji's biography by Pupul Jaikar or Mary Letian, that I don't remember. If 2,500 years back, or even today, if somebody told me there was a Buddha, but in the other part of the world, I will travel half of the globe, go and meet him, what it is like to be an enlightened being, what it is like to be a Buddha. Now you see, if you take it at the face value, you will at a loss to understand Krishnamurti, particularly because Krishnamurti, the man who never tired of saying, excuse me, who never tired of saying the speaker is not important and the teachings are important. And here he is giving importance to not only the teachings, but to the person called Gautam Buddha, and that is the passion. That is the passion. And as I'm quoting Swamiji, fraught with certain dangers, and I hardly need to tell you, like Columbus did the same thing when he reached America, and he undertook a voyage fraught with dangers. And same way, Krishnji would be willing to take such risks. Okay. Now, whatever I quote, I would be quoting straight from. So right now, what I'm going to read is krishnamurti.org content. If you go to content and then passion, if you type, you will come to these lines, or you can go straight to Google as I did this morning. Passion comes from the word sorrow. I don't know if you have got into it. If you have gone into it, means you have investigated, looked into that word, the root meaning of that word, passion, is sorrow, from suffering. Now, let me remind you, see the style of Krishnji, how he goes into the etymology of the word, the very etymology of the word. And let me remind you, those of us who have read his biography, we know that, or I have heard from Dr. Pachude, when Krishnji was constantly traveling, and when he would start traveling, the first thing that will be packed inside his one of the suitcases will be universal English dictionary. His passion for learning. This is what Swamiji also talked about, passion for learning, and the sense of excellence. I mean, I cannot thank Krishna enough for letting me know, for teaching me that Disciple comes from the word discipline, and discipline comes from the word discern. So you see how meticulously. So we learn the lesson of passion for learning and that excellence. Now you see, please allow me to say one more thing here. When I talk about passion, like Swamiji gave the examples of, successful people and all that, you know, usually it's a tragedy that whenever we hear about excellence, we measure somebody's excellence in terms of his vocation or profession or occupation, whatever it is. So somebody, is excellent. Okay, you tell him, okay, he is an excellent what? A doctor or engineer. Like if you have to, give the example of a great civil engineer in India, original one. Nobody can excel the Dr. Visvesvaraya, even in those days, those of you who have been to Vrindavan Garden and, no, but nothing. Water seeks its own level. He used that and how he built the dam and all that. So, but no, the beauty of Krishnaji said, tells us, okay, that is all right. And he did not deny that. He reminded us in his letter of schools that, yes, he talks about in his letters to the schools, which is one of my books translated. Of course, academic excellence must be there. But he talked about excellence simply as a sheer human being. A sheer human being. Please allow me to tell you one thing. At least not that Krishnamurti meant by that, but let me tell you, and I'm talking from heart. I cannot talk from my mind. One day, when I was reading about Raman Maharshi, and Raman says, in those days, he used to be in Virupaksh Gopa, and once in 24 hours, he will come out, go begging, and on his 2 hands, he will beg, and whatever would be put on his palm, he would stand on the roadside, eat it, and move on. And he said, I was a sheer beggar, less than a beggar, and I would eat it and march onward and feel like the king of the, not the world, the universe. Yes, you see, that is a sense of excellence. Raman had left his studies at the age of 16. And Swamiji will correct me if I'm wrong. I was told by umpteen times by Osho that Hindu scriptures say Parampad, and there is no position, if we like to use this word, greater than what you call self-realization or enlightenment or whatever it is. Okay, that is the highest. So that sense of that, and for that, we need not be a successful professional. Krishnji was not a successful professional, we all know that, but yes, a tremendous sense of excellence. And let me tell one anecdote which might amuse you. One Indian went all the way to England. When he read a few things about Krishnamurti, he went to Brockwood Park, and he was told that, whenever Krishnaji is here, once he must go to Harrods. He said, Harrods? What does this God-realized person have to do with a worldly place like Harrods, shopping mall? And he said, well, ask him, we don't know, but he's not here. He went back to London, drove straight to Harrods in a taxi, and finally he had seen photograph. He went to that counter and he saw Krishnaji was, standing in front of hundreds of ties. And this people from Brockwood, probably some marriage embalist or somebody was trying to help him. And he was still struggling with which one to buy. After he finished, so he had already said that, sir, I would like to speak for you 2 minutes. He said, let me finish the job. But when he saw that he is in such a dilemma, and so much confused. This man talks about choiceless awareness and he can't choose a simple type. He started going back. And he said, Krishnaji said, what happened? Are you going back? He said, sir, if you tell me, I will not go back. But can you remove one doubt? Why so much, confusion? Why do you choose? Krishnaji said, I never choose. Mind his words. I never choose. He said, I'm seeing with my own eyes. Krishnaji said, no, I never choose. I simply go for the best. You see, look at the spirit of that. When I talk about such things, I spent 2 years at Sahyadri. I was thrown out of Sahyadri, because the kind of things which I would talk about would not be liked by people. But I'm sorry to say, as far as I'm concerned, these words did not attract me. His spirit, Now you can challenge me, you can ask me, okay, Harishji, very fine. This spirit of Krishnamurti, maybe you have imbibed some of it, but where has it led to you? I don't know. I have never measured. But the very fact that I can look at the plant or a flower at cloud with a smile, without the thought that I'm just allow me one thing. Deepak, I'm in the meeting. Yeah. So that's fine. Yes. So I'm still very much on this side. I'm groping in the dark, but I'm enjoying the dark also. Only today I was talking to my friend Chidanandji Chaudhary. Luckily he's here. I saw him, and professor and head of Department of Clinical Psychology at Christian Medical College Hospital, Ludhiana. And I said, I liked one slogan of Taiwan tourism. They have created one 35 kilometers long, very probably the most scenic and picturesque motor drive way to a beautiful place. And they advertise, when you come to Taiwan, not only destination is enchanting, even the journey is. So I told Krishnanand, I'm enjoying the journey. I don't mind. You understand? So, I'm just talking from my heart and trying to tell you that, why I selected. So, Krishnaji has given the etymology, and look at his sense of excellence and with a sense of perfection. Then he proceeds to say, and without passion, how can you see beauty? You can intellectually appreciate a painting or a poem or a statue, but you need this great sense of inward bursting of passion, explosion of passion, that creates in itself the sensitivity that can see beauty. So it is, I think, rather important to understand sorrow. I think it is related to beauty, passion, sorrow. Sorrow, we all know. Krishnaji never tired of telling us, and we have read it in his biography, that 3 times he appeared the examination in those days called matriculation. And he proudly would say, the speaker has not passed a single examination in his life. But yet his passion for learning, so, but that was afterwards. We can't be fool enough to believe that every time he failed, he felt great. No, he might have tasted frustration. And suppose he did not. And this I dare say, because after all, he was not a thick-skinned person. Of course, probably he was, writing those, taking that exam again and again, maybe under compulsion from any Besant, late Peter, whoever it was. He was looked after by that. There may have been. And if not those exams, when Brother Nitya passed away, left, so he tasted sorrow. of course, it did not stop there. So we can see all that. Beauty I have already described. You know, we all know that when Krishnji was in India, he will be immaculately dressed in the best possible Indian dress. When he was in England, he would not just wear a coat called jersey there, jacket there, because there they say coat means long coat, overcoat. Not just jacket and trousers, no. He will wear three-piece. Those of us who have seen his photographs, you know, traveling from Petersfield to London, he would be in three-piece, which he would never wear in California. He would be in blue jeans and t-shirt. You see, I mean, somebody would say, oh my God, Harish, come on. You are paying attention to such things. You are not talking about teachings. Okay. I mean, congratulations. You people are already talking about the teachings, you know. But this is the spirit of Krishnamurti. You know, that day I said, nothing can come between the teachings and me. Today, if I have to, you know, qualify this and revise this statement, I would say Krishnamurti, the spirit of him, and me, because the me is still very much there. Nothing can come. And sometimes I feel, let me tell you one anecdote, my dear friends, and you must forget chota muh badi baat. But this will probably speak volumes. This was related to me by a great theosophist from Patna, Chidanandji Babu, and very old. When I was at Patna University doing MA, he was already in 90s, and he said, Harish, let me tell you one interesting thing. Krishnji, I met him at Sarnath because I decided to walk with him, and then I said, Krishnji, do you believe in Rama, Krishna, Buddha, all those incarnations, including Jesus Christ and Muhammad? And I have no reasons to doubt of what he told me. Krishnji said, sir, let me tell you, I don't believe in those incarnations. You know, I don't have to. But I can tell you, they all come in me and go out. I mean, I really don't know. Sometimes, you know, after I have finished speaking, my friends call me and said, why did you have to be so worked up while speaking? When it was your turn, then you should say, just talk, just like anybody. And I say, well, I don't know. Probably Krishnji, I contracted this disease from Krishnji, you know, knowingly or unknowingly. Anyway, please allow me to continue with that. So, beauty. Krishnji talks about beauty. Let me give you one example. And Swami Chidanandji, if he is still listening, and I have no way to know, but he can correct me if I am wrong. I was at Pondicherry, and in those days, I was in touch with one person, S.C. Batra, who ran India's first antique shop in Sundarnagar, Delhi. And it was started by his father. And when Lord Mountbatten was leaving India, he came to buy those antiques from his shop. Anyway, S.C. Batra. So one day I chanced upon a book by, I don't know, Tapovan Maharaj or by someone, Swami Sundaranand or someone. And the foreword was written by Swami Chinmayanand. Oh, I said, oh, not that rotten stuff, traditional. But I said, this foreword is very short. I can finish in no time. I started reading. And let me go on record that very one thing. And today I hold that person, you know, in great, high esteem. And he said, every year, Tapovan Maharaj may undertake a journey to Kailash Mansarovar. And in those days, there were no other ways than starting from Gangotri, Uttarkashi, and cross the Himalayas and reach there. And often, more often than not, he would stop and he would be in trance and he would say, Guruji, you are forgetting. The sun is going to set. We have to stay somewhere where there is some, at least some, there is no snow or something. We still have a long way. And he would say, you idiot, can't you see the snow-capped mountains? Look at the grandeur of those snow-capped mountains. And you fools, let me tell you, if you can look at those snow-capped mountains and marvel at that, you can put aside all the Vedas, you know. I mean, again, my friends ask me, why do you, confuse and equate Swami Chinmayanand or Raman or Osho with Krishnamurti? Well, since this is a platform where quoting people is not a taboo, and I'm thankful for that, so I'm rather, game for quoting it anyway. So Krishna talks about beauty, passion, I have already described, in sorrow, I have already described. And from the same website, let me read. It has to do with joy and ecstasy, which is not pleasure. Innocence alone can be passionate. And my dear friends, let me again allow me to tell you an anecdote. Those of you who have, I'm sure some of you have watched it. Krishnaji's talked to students at Rishiveri. And I still remember the student, Tejpal, because I met him when I was at Blue Mountain School, Uti. He was from Coimbatore. And Krishnaji used to say, where is my boyfriend? Where is my girlfriend? So Tejpal. At one point, Tejpal had difficulty in understanding Krishnaji's import. He asked, sir, how old are you? And he said, 16. He caught hold, he grabbed both his arms and almost shook him, badly, because so much passion was there. And he says, what did you say your name is? Tejpal. Don't grow up. Don't grow up, sir. What do you mean? Remain 16. Don't grow up. I wonder if anything else can illustrate it, what Krishnaji meant by, innocence. So we know that we have seen children chasing butterflies and we wonder how foolish they are. But look at their sense of innocence. And sometimes I feel I should also chase, even though it is imitation. But see if it is great fun, still at this age when I'm nearing 70, and I can do that. Let me continue with that. In passion, there is not the slightest shadow of fulfillment. Therefore, there can be neither frustration nor pain. Passion is the freedom from the me, which is the center of all fulfillment and pain. Passion does not demand because it is, and I am not speaking of something static. Passion is the austerity of self-abnegation. Passion is the austerity of self-abnegation. Now, please allow me a very short anecdote. Again, I was in Pondicherry and reading memoirs of the mother, Aurobindo's disciple. And she talks about her younger days when she had not joined Aurobindo. She said once she went to watch a play in one of the famous theaters of Paris, and every few minutes, she will feel a gentle touch on the head. So she would realize that the person behind me has difficulty in seeing. So she will slightly budge and again come back to the same state. At one point, she got irritated. Who the hell is that person who thinks that only he or she should watch the play and not me? I can't enjoy the play. She looked back and saw a cute little innocent child. Her heart came into the mouth. And she says, for more than half of the play, I tilted my head, and right in front of my head was my face, my eyes, there was another head. I could not watch the play, but God knows why. When I came out of the hall, I knew for the first time in my life what is true fulfillment. You see, Krishnaji did not relate this story, But I could not find any other anecdote to illustrate my point. What is self-abnegation? Self-abnegation is not, what the other day, and you correct me, it is Facebook or some, millionaire, who owns Facebook or whatever it is, that out of 3 houses, he has already sold 2. And now he has decided to sell the 3rd house, not that kind of austerity and not that kind of self-abnegation. Maybe he's doing that to impress others, But, when we come across such a thing, then we know what Krishnji means by self-abnegation, self-denial, in which self-abnegation, in which the you and the me is not. Therefore, passion is the essence of life. It is this that moves and lives. But when thought brings in all the problems of having and holding, that is possessing, then passion ceases to exist. Without passion, creation is not possible. Of course, creation by Krishnji, by creation does not mean when, when he talks about, he tells David Bohm in Ending of Time at Rishi Valley. So it came with great ache and pain and all that. And the surgery started, and for 1 hour, something was happening, something mystical cannot be described. And I was in touch with the source of creation. No, Krishnji does not mean by that creation. He simply means creation by creativity. And I am sorry to say, like Reza, I need not give examples. But I cannot, request and appeal to the people who are at the helm of affairs in the KFI and the school, to introspect whether this kind of creativity they are cultivating or no. This sense of excellence and creativity have been thrown out, like, the phrase, throwing the water, tub water along with the baby. So whether they have been thrown, and I need not be judgmental. And then questioner says, this has fired me with a strange new feeling. Mind the word, new feeling. You see, my dear friends, whenever we discuss, not that we should not discuss the teachings, but we give more importance to Krishnamurti's thoughts than the very thing which is feeling. This has fired me, not filled me, fired me, ignited me with a strange new feeling. And Krishnaji says, that is the passion of learning, which Swami Chidanandji also said, the passion of learning. Thank you for, putting up with whatever, an ignorant person like Harish or whatever it is with that. And you are most welcome, to ask me, but no guarantee that I can, throw any light on that. But yes, I will try my best.
Harish ji, why did you say that he is not?
Please, time is already over. So please be brief in asking, please.
Okay, yes.
Why did you say that Krishnamurti is not successful?
No, I never said.
You said he was not successful in your talk.
Oh, I see. Yes. Sir, one thing. Sir, we all know the anecdote. When Krishnaji was one day, he said, look, you speak fantastic, but it is quite embarrassing to see you banging your heads, when it comes to denouncing the gurus and the bearded people and this and that, Krishnaji, remember one thing, you cannot, make people understand your message. And why don't you give up? He said that I cannot. Even if you, sir, and he gave the analogy, have you smelled the fragrance of rose? I said, yes, of course. Where? in such and such garden. But suppose this rose plant was in a jungle which has never been explored and penetrated. Will it still give fragrance? Of course, with the same intensity, maybe more, because tourists and all that will not spoil the plant. He said, I'm like that. I will spread perfume, whether somebody cares to listen to me or not. Sir, Krishna, a person like me, Krishnaji, the Krishnaji's success lies in his becoming unsuccessful. Sir, the logic is simple. Since Krishnamurti never sought success, so he remained unsuccessful. Accepting Krishnamurti, and once I am told, somebody said, Krishnaji, oh, now I understand. And Krishnaji said, what? What you said? He said, Krishnaji said, forget it. There is nothing to understand. So that way, Krishnaji was unsuccessful. But that is the grandeur, that is the greatness and beauty of Krishnamurti.
Shankar Rao is asking, what is the meaning of success? Shankar Rao, unmute and ask. Shankar Rao.
There is nothing to ask, sir. Just in case he has said that Krishnamurti is not successful, what does he mean by the word? Word is not the thing. So what is that meaning that success means according to him? That's all. It's not so serious question.
Sir, what Swami Chidanandji said, bigger bungalow, reputation. Of course, he was a public figure. Government of India issued a stamp on Krishnamurti. Of course, he was a public figure. But we all know the story. When he was called to United Nations, and they gave him the medal, which he very humbly took. And when he was leaving, he put the medal on the chair and walked out. Krishnamurti drove home the point that he never sought such medals. He never sought such medals. Success means that. Now, if you say, Hareshji, which is success as part of your philosophy of life? Of course, to me, live happily, joyfully, peacefully, if I can. That is the hallmark of success. And by some freak chance, somebody's grace or some freak moment, if thoughts fall silent and I have a glimpse of that infinite, of course, that is the real success, which I use the word parampad, So I don't have to speak more on that.
Is there anyone more asking any question? Because it is already 7:37. Last question is somebody.
Okay, go ahead. No problem. If somebody.
I don't think there is any question, sir.
Good.
So thank you very much, Hareshwar Singh or Hareshji. Was it a successful lecture? That's my question last week. And with that question, I ask Kamlesh to finish the meeting, please. End the meeting. Thank you very much, Hareshji, and everybody who participated here. Thank you very much. Thanks to every participant, all speakers. Thank you. Thank you. Please close the meeting. Kamleshji, please close the meeting.
I think there is some problem at Mr. Kamlesh end. Somebody else has to close.
Let me see. Well, we can individually leave, no problem. Okay, thank you for, giving me the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All.
Kamlesh Modak, are you there?